Hi, Berlin badasses. How are you? I am live here from Korea and so excited to be speaking with you. I would have loved to be super live, but when the conference started, it would have been 2:30 a.m. in Korea and my clubbing days are over. So, sending you lots of love and greetings from Korea. Okay, so welcome to this amazing conference. I am Kyla. I am a global happiness coach. So excited to be here and be a part of this, and humbled and honored to be with you this evening. So, before we begin, I would love it if we all closed our eyes and took a deep breath, and then with our fingers, we showed each other how badass our level is. So on a scale of 0 to 10, 0 being not that badass, 10 being total badass, let's show each other our badass level. Okay, so first we're going to take a deep breath. Great. Close your eyes. Imagine that number. And then when you're ready, hold up your number. Okay, so let's look around and see. Great. So my number is 10, but it always hasn't been 10. We'll get to that later. But first, we're talking about that moment of total badassery when I became a badass. This word badass is so badass, but what does it really mean, and what does it mean to each and every one of us? So I'd love for you to take a moment and think about, what does badass mean to you? And write down your own definition of badass. Okay, so Vivian, you can go ahead and pause the video now. Okay, have fun with that. Okay, I hope you have had time to write down your own definition of badass. I'd love to share with you mine. Okay, so what does badass mean? And here's my definition. Not by yourself, but with yourself. And I will get to that in a second. Okay. So now we have talked about our levels of badassness and our definitions of badass. So I'd love to now share my story with you. So last year, had you asked me what my number of badass level was, I would have probably told you that it was like in the negatives. Probably it would have looked something like this, -100. I know, crazy. So what triggered that? My mother was diagnosed with early onset dementia. And that just triggered this downward spiral for me. I became really depressed. I quit my job. I was a professor. I didn't want to do anything. I definitely didn't feel badass, and everything around me just seemed to fall apart and crumble. I was really, really sad. So I decided to take some time off and be with myself more and just slow things down, take a pause. And so I did. I took a few months off, and best thing I've ever done. So one of the people that I met along this journey with myself was my grandmother's homeopathic doctor, who had been with my grandmother since she passed away last year when she was 99 years old. So amazing. So this homeopathic doctor wanted to meet me. So we met a few months ago, And we talked a lot about different things that were going on in my life, and in particular about how I was not really dealing with my mom's dementia diagnosis and how it was just really, really hard for me. So she said just 3 words to me that totally changed my life. Can you guess what those 3 words were? I'll have Vivian pause right now again. Okay, so I'm sure you've come up with a lot of different 3 words, but the 3 words that, and I'm just going to reach over here because I actually hang these 3 words over my desk so I can see them every day. These 3 words were da, 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 you are enough. I know, let's take a moment and think about how crazy these 3 words were and how life-changing. So for me, someone who has been told most of her life and believed most of her life that I am not enough, I was really taken aback. And then I started listening and being so with myself that I was hearing this voice within me, like the negative voice. Some of you may know that every day the average human has 60,000 thoughts, and 80% of those thoughts, that means 40,000, are negative. And 95% of those thoughts actually repeat. So I had this, negative voice within me telling me, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough, I wasn't XYZ enough. You get the picture. So I started tuning into that and really just upping that level of badassness. And it was just this spectacular change. That you are enough became this confidence, became this level of badassness, became this, rather than basing my self-worth on external factors and what other people thought of me, I based my self-worth and my badassness on what I thought of myself. I know. Super crazy. So what then happened was, and this has all been within the last few months, mind you, I started my own pop-up cafe. I started working on trying to finish my book that I've always wanted to publish. I became a certified happiness coach. I spoke in front of 800 women at a global women's conference in Norway. This was literally like in September. I hired my own life coach, and it has just been life-changing. So, badass level, like up to like plus 100 for sure. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Let's recap. Okay, in the beginning, you gave a number of your level of badass. Even if it was 10, I'd like you to go back to that number and go back to your definition of what it is to be a badass. Okay? And I'm going to ask Vivian to pause here in a second, but what I'd love for you all to do is, based on your own definition of badass, what are 3 things that you would love to do to get yourself to the next level of being a badass? And write those down. Okay? So, Vivian, if you could please press pause. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I hope you had the time to write down those three things. And what I wish for you, after you leave this amazing, badass experience and badass conference, what I hope for you and what I wish for you is that definitely please keep in touch with me, but also to continue that inward journey of your badassness and to work on those three things that you said that you would need to work on. Okay. And I just wish you happiness and badassness, whatever that means to you. And thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing. Bye for now.